Electric vehicles have some inherent advantages as vehicles for disabled drivers. For starters, they don't have gears, and that's a key requirement for many disabled drivers. They're also smooth and easy to control, particularly for low-speed manoeuvring. And if you have off-street parking and a home charger, then depending on how you want to use your vehicle, what sort of mileages you want to cover, you may well find that you can do all or virtually all of your charging at home with a setup that suits you, perhaps far more convenient than refueling a conventional vehicle at a petrol or diesel service station. There are lots of EVs on the market these days, including plenty of options for SUV-style shaped vehicles with big doors, plenty of space for the entrance and exit. And EVs are as adaptable as any other vehicle for things like ball steering, push-pull controls and lightening the power steering. And of course, if an EV works for a disabled driver, then the benefits that we all love are there. Very cheap fuel and other running costs, a lovely calm and quiet drive, no local air quality emissions and a much reduced carbon footprint. But the picture is not all rosy. Even the longest range EV has to refuel more frequently than a conventional petrol or diesel vehicle. And on a long journey that can be inconvenient, especially as charge point location is quite often unpredictable, and even at a service station, the EV charge points are often not located as conveniently as the petrol and diesel pumps. And there may be other challenges with refueling, such as perhaps a lack of a dropped curb, or the safety bollards which you often get around the chargers may get in the way of wheelchair access, or perhaps the height of equipment is not designed with mobility impairments in mind. And taken as a whole, this greater unpredictability, this level of uncertainty may create some anxiety and perhaps act as a bit of a deterrent for some disabled drivers. If you're in the market for a wheelchair accessible vehicle, then wheelchair accessible electric vehicles are available, such as the converted Nissan ENV 200 here, but there are additional problems. So over here we've got a conventional wheelchair accessible vehicle, and with a conventional petrol or diesel wheelchair accessible vehicle, the standard practice is to lower the floor, so the fuel tank will tend to be rerouted, the exhaust will be rerouted, and you've really lowered the whole floor. And you can see, if you can come in here, the wheelchair is then able to be positioned right at the front, and that's very much the ethos for wheelchair accessible vehicles. The wheelchair is right up here in the second row of seats, part of the family, a nice position, a nice safe place for the wheelchair to be as well. Whereas you'll see that the issue with electric vehicles is that the aftermarket converters can't touch the batteries, and in an electric vehicle the batteries are invariably spread along the floor plan. So in the ENV 200 here, the batteries, they're sort of under the driver's seat and to some extent the passenger seat, they stop about here. So they've managed to drop the floor here. You can get the wheelchair in nice and low, but the wheelchair is in effectively the third row of seats. So it's not really following the ethos. It's not such an inclusive, not such a comfortable position for the disabled, for the wheelchair user to be in. In the future, no doubt vehicle manufacturers will cooperate a bit more and be able to help with re-engineering vehicles, and particularly about shifting the position of those batteries. But for the moment, wheelchair accessible electric vehicles do come with a bit of a compromise.